No matter if we're working from a big office, a home office, or just trying to stream Netflix right from our smart TV, we need access to the internet in order to be able to do almost anything with technology. In order to get connected to the internet, though, we need an internet service connection. Now, the way that's made is we normally purchase a plan through something like Comcast or Xfinity, and then they provide us internet access through some form. More often than not, it's done with a jack right inside your apartment, your home, or in an office. You connect a coaxial cable right from your modem or router to the wall, and then you have internet access. But how does it work if we don't do that? And how does it work in general? That's what we're going to learn in this video. We're going to learn about the 5 different types of internet service, including fiber optic internet service, cable, DSL, satellite, and 5G, as well as other mediums such as older 4G and 3G. Let's dive into it and let's explore fiber first. Fiber is an extremely high speed form of internet connection that uses light sent through fiber optic cables. It's by far one of the most popular and the fastest internet available today. In terms of function, it provides fast internet for both homes and businesses. It supports extremely fast data, so you could have someone streaming multiple shows in your house on multiple devices while someone else is gaming, while someone else is on a Zoom call, and still not hit the limit for the amount of data that you're able to handle for your specific internet connection. Again, it's used for extremely large data transfers, large data needs, and for cloud services. If you have fiber optic in your area, odds are you have an extremely fast download speed. Many times, those who are connected to a fiber optic internet connection can receive well over 1 gigabyte per second download speeds, which is extremely fast online. Overall, fiber is very fast and it's very reliable in terms of its internet type. It also offers very high upload as well as download speeds, and it's ideal for modern networks and if you're using the internet a lot. Next is cable, and cable uses that coaxial cable I was talking about earlier to provide internet access. The common uses of cable are for basic home internet connections and sometimes small offices and smaller businesses. It supports streaming, gaming, and browsing relatively easily. It's not usually as fast as fiber optic, but you can see decent speeds with cable. You can see around 100, 2, 3, 4, 500 megabytes per second, which is lower than fiber optic, but it's still pretty decent. For example, you could have someone streaming a show while someone's gaming and someone's browsing online. These are all great use cases to be able to do at the same time with a decent cable connection. One thing with cable that I want to talk about though is it does tend to have a wide variety of different speeds. Most of the time, something like Xfinity or Comcast, they'll kind of throttle you within the speed that they sign you up for, whatever plan. Sometimes you have 25 megabyte plans, sometimes you have 50, sometimes you have 100, 2, 3, 400. It's such a wide variety. It really depends. But a lot of times there's such a wide variety of speeds, you'll have to look at your plan as there's really no standard speed for cable. It depends on what exactly you're paying and what they're providing you. Additionally, cable is very, very widely available. Almost every area has cable unless you're in a very, very remote area or a very small town. That's contrasted with fiber optic. Fiber optic is not available everywhere. Fiber optic is available in many large cities, but you're going to see cable in more to mid-sized towns and really people who are looking to get a little bit cheaper of a plan. Additionally, cable is a really good balance of both speed and cost, of course, depending on what plan you get. Here is the coaxial cable I was talking about earlier. This is what would run from the wall jack all the way to your modem or router in order to provide you internet access. Next, we have DSL or digital subscriber line. DSL is an older form of internet connection that uses phone lines in order to provide internet access. DSL is common in more rural or older areas. It's used for basic internet needs and for email and things like that, and it works while using a phone line. DSL is important because it is sometimes more common than cable or fiber. I will say though, with how popular cable internet has become, DSL has been started being phased out. It's not nearly as fast as cable, and while cable and DSL might be a little bit more found in some areas than fiber, cable, in my opinion, is still the best balance of availability, pricing, as well as speed. In terms of pricing, DSL is usually relatively cheap. It's usually one of the cheapest options, and it is pretty slow compared to cable and fiber, but nevertheless, it is known for being pretty reliable. This is how DSL works. It routes connections from a central office to a customer's home. Customer has a DSL modem, and then they have access to internet and the phone. So the connection goes right to the DSL modem, which provides both of those services. Next up is satellite internet. Satellite is most common in areas that don't have cable, DSL, or fiber. Additionally, sometimes satellite can be set up where it can hit areas that 4G or 5G might not be available in, so keep that in mind. Satellite is supposed to work in some of the most remote locations on Earth, so that makes satellite available when other internet options aren't possible. Additionally, satellite is nice because it doesn't require any cables at all. It doesn't require modern infrastructure or anything like that. Obviously, you're getting your signal from a satellite up in space. So, really, all that's needed is some form of medium to get that signal, something like Starlink, and obviously the satellite in the sky, which the provider would be responsible for. Same thing, satellite can be slow and it can also have higher latency, but in recent times, we're starting to see that slow speed with satellite isn't always the case. For example, with Starlink, I have heard of people getting 50 to 100, up to 150 megabytes per second download speed in remote areas, which is really, really good. Again, satellite is used just when really there's no other options. Satellite can be used almost anywhere in the world, and it's one of those options that's used when there's nothing else that you can really use. Additionally, some people do like using satellite anyway, so if you're really interested in satellite as a type of internet connection, I would highly advise looking into Starlink. It's one of the most popular forms of satellite internet nowadays. Obviously, Elon Musk is the owner of Starlink, and he's the one who's kind of promoting it and one of the bigger players within Starlink. And really, if you're interested in satellite, go on Starlink's website, check it out. They offer different monthly and I believe yearly subscription plans that you can use to get satellite internet. It might actually be a bit cheaper in some areas than having to have a cable or some other actual physical connection. Additionally, this is how satellite works. We got a satellite up in the sky. Someone's got either an antenna or some sort of receiver. For example, dish is one of the most common ones. They put a dish up on the roof, and that is what actually gets the signal. So from there, once you have the signal, then you can use your internet from there. One thing I wanted to show you, this is Starlink. Starlink is a little bit different because you can just plop Starlink anywhere really on the ground or up on a roof of a car or of an RV or something, and then you can get your internet signal through here. So this is a pretty small device. That's why I do recommend looking up Starlink if you're interested in it. It's a pretty interesting concept nowadays, and it's a lot more seemingly accessible than something like Dish because you don't need to really install anything major physical wise. Next up, we have 4G and 5G hotspots or 4G and 5G connection. So 4G, fourth generation, and 5G, fifth generation. These are just cellular network ways of connection in order to access the internet. So you could have what's known as a hotspot where you can share your connection with others or other devices, or you could just have a regular connection coming in through your phone or through your tablet, through whatever provider you're using, like AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, Sprint. There's a ton of different providers out there now. For the most part, almost all connections nowadays will use either 4G or 5G. Back in the old days, they did have 3G and so on and so forth, but nowadays 5G is by far the most fast, and most phone plans nowadays just give you unlimited data. So there's really not much of a difference between phone provider from phone provider unless you're accounting for speed as well as dead spots, because there definitely are coverage areas that can impact your mobile data and your mobile data coverage. In terms of 4G and 5G, you can use it for travel, remote work, backup internet. Really, 5G nowadays is so fast. Sometimes I'll have my 5G on and I won't be using my Wi-Fi and I won't even notice. That's how fast 5G is nowadays. Additionally, if you have a hotspot, either on your phone, most phones nowadays have the option to create a hotspot right from your phone, or if you have a physical hotspot like the one here on screen, you can share your connection. You can bring a laptop with you when you travel somewhere and log onto your laptop, tablet, or other device. So they're pretty useful. From a work setting perspective, many times workplaces will give you a dedicated hotspot like this. That way you can connect through your own work device directly to a work hotspot. Additionally, it's pretty useful when wired internet is unavailable and if you don't want to do the hassle of doing something like Starlink for satellite connection. Next up is bandwidth ranges. So generally this covers data and how much data can be sent. DSL normally has speeds of 100 to 100 Mbps as far as download goes, and that's megabytes per second. Cable can be between 25 to around 1,000 megabytes per second. Fiber can be 300 up to 10 gigabytes per second. That's incredibly fast. Satellite connections are usually between 12 to 100 megabytes per second, and 4G and 5G usually ranges between 10 to about 1 gigabyte per second. It does vary based off of your signal and what location you're in as well, so keep that in mind, especially for 4G and 5G. But remember, DSL, cable, fiber, those are wired connections. Satellite and 4G and 5G, those are our wireless connections. Bandwidth range is important as well because it determines internet speed and performance. So depending on your bandwidth range or how much bandwidth you have for your connection, that's usually how fast your internet speed is going to be. It affects everything: streaming, gaming, downloading, uploading, watching videos, anything that you do with the internet. Your internet speed and your internet connection is going to affect that. So make sure that if you're selecting an internet service, that you find the right one for your needs. You count how many people in your household, what devices you have, and especially if you're in an office setting in a business, that you understand the demands of your business as well. And that concludes this video on internet connection types, what each one entails, and when they should be used.